Are you at that point in your life where you're ready to build a new home? Or are you at that point in your life where you're ready to downsize and get out of an existing home into a new home that you can live with for the rest of your years? In this video, I'll share with you 4 tips that my wife and I used to plan out our new home that have made it our forever home. Tip number 1 has to do with accessibility. Now, I'm not sure how easy it is to see in this picture, but if you notice, all you have to do to enter this house is cross the threshold. There are no steps to climb, no porch to climb up on. It's all zero entry. We ask our builder, how do we do that so when we're in a walker or we're in a wheelchair or even just using a cane, is there a way to eliminate those? And they described to us the zero accessibility feature. So our house was built and the foundation was established in a way that you drive up the driveway and then with a very slight slope or a flat sidewalk, you walk right to the front door. And I'll also show you the garage, which has the same feature. We'll open the garage door, walk in, and it's straight into the house. It is amazing how convenient that is, even when we're very fit and can get around without worrying about climbing steps. But I've also seen people struggle carrying groceries upstairs in their garage to get in their house. So as you're planning your new house, strongly consider zero accessibility. It may not be a big deal now, but it could be in your forever home. The second tip has to do with layout. When my wife and I sat down with the builder, we told him that we wanted a house where we could live on one floor. All our day-to-day activities would be done on one floor. No climbing stairs to the basement to do laundry or climbing upstairs to go to the bedrooms. Wanted it to all be on a single floor. Now that's not to say that we didn't want to have a living space downstairs, which we do a garden level, or we didn't have to climb stairs to go to our bedrooms and have a living space up there, which we don't in our house, but could be done. But we wanted to be able to do day-to-day tasks all on one floor. So as we get up in the years where it's harder to get around, we wouldn't have to worry about that problem. And as you'll see in some additional slides I'm going to show you here, there's some planning that you want to do in how the rooms are spaced on this floor, as well as in a second floor or a basement as you get into planning your layout. I've moved to my PC now, and I wanted to take a few minutes and just talk about optimizing room positioning on each layout that you have for every floor. Now, there are 2 reasons for doing this. One is privacy, and the second is just efficiency. And as you'll see in this, we've positioned things in our house to provide both of those. Now, I'll start this clip. The items you'll see in blue are musts that we wanted on our main floor. Of course, the master bedroom and bath we put far to the right, away from the living space. And then we've, of course, got our kitchen and pantry area. And then over to the farthest part of the house, our laundry room, which will be the noisiest, but it's close to our garage. Now the brown items are wants, but we positioned a half bath near the garage area and easily accessible by the main floor. And then I put my office back over on the right side near the master bedroom. In actuality, that office is another bedroom. And so if you want to have privacy of your bedrooms, we've segregated those off to one end of the house, away from the general living area and the utility areas and access from the garage. I should point out we placed the laundry for easy access to the garage, which is this area right here. And then we put the half bath there as close to that as well, just for convenience if you happen to be outside or in the garage. And then with only a little additional distance, we've come to the coat area and then finally into the kitchen. So therefore, the amount of effort and time it takes to walk from the garage into the key areas that you'll probably need to come from the garage are close to the garage entry. Now let's take a look at the lower level here. And then once again, you see the main construction layout of the house, very similar to the main floor. Here you see the stairs on the main floor coming down from the family room up above to the family room down below. And if we start this, once again, the bedrooms are in blue, but you notice we put them on the opposite side of the house. along with the full bath. Now what that does is it now creates their separate private area, which is on the opposite side from the upstairs or main floor bedroom, which is above this unfinished storage area. So essentially they have their own, I call it a private suite downstairs, or this could be your second story if you have a two-story house, essentially putting them on opposite sides of the house. And then where we had a common space, the family rooms are above and below each other. So if there's activity going on in those two areas, the noise and activity won't bother the people or the space right above it. So things to consider when you're planning where to place your bedrooms, your bathrooms, your access to the garage, your laundry rooms. Think about how you'll be using them. Think about the convenient places they could be, and think about privacy when you have people living either above you or below you in your forever house. Tip number 3 has to do with location. Now I'm in our 3-season porch. It's the middle of December. We've got a storm front moving in and the temperatures are going to go below zero and possibly a little bit of snow. But I wanted to give you a sense for what we have for our backyard. And since this isn't very good video for me being in front of the screen, I'm going to get out of the way here so you can see what we have. We were fortunate enough to find a lot that had an established set of trees around us. Fortunately or unfortunately, those are the neighbors' trees. They moved in about 10 to 15 years before we decided to build here. So we've got a natural park-like setting in our backyard. And consequently, we can hardly see the neighbors' houses. And in our far west back of the house, you see a white fence. And this is a very deep lot for the people behind us, so we will never have a house built behind us. And then farther to the south and west, there's a farm field where this past year they had soybeans. And I guess the point is there most likely won't be a house built there. So we've got kind of a built-in park-like setting. And I'm going to show you a drone shot I took of our lot and the surrounding area this past September when things were starting to change. And you can get a sense for the openness we have in our backyard and how the location of the lot was pretty much a prime factor in us moving into this spot. The other point I want to make on this is pick the direction you want your house to face. I only mention this because whether your house is facing east like ours and west like ours can make a difference in the type of lighting you have. And we like this setup because we have a lot of morning sun lighting up the front of the house. And in the afternoon, we've got great sun to enjoy. Not so great when it's hot in the middle of the summer, but our porch allows us to get out of that. If you happen to be a north-facing south backyard, you're going to have a big difference. You won't be able to find shade in the summer unless you build some shade or have some portable umbrellas or things like that. So take that into consideration when you're looking for lots. This may not be a factor for many of you, but being in Iowa, one of the things we considered was the prevailing winds, particularly in the winter, and how snow drifts. And in our setup, excuse me, we're pretty lucky in the sense that having a east-facing house helps prevent drifts from coming across our driveway. Now there's drifts near our front door, around the front door, but area, but not nearly as bad as would be if we were in a south-facing house or north-facing house. So that's another factor to take into consideration when you're looking for places to build your forever home. Make sure the setting is something that you can live with for years to come and you can enjoy it for years to come. Step 4 has to do with automation. Now doesn't seem like a big deal, but believe me, it is, particularly when you're building a new house. And in this day and age, particularly. We came from a house that had coaxial cables stuck into the walls, and that was it. When we built this house, we said we want Ethernet cables in almost every room, or at least the bedrooms and my office and the family room and the basement rooms, so we could plug in computers or TVs, smart TVs, in every room without having to worry about using Wi-Fi. As a matter of fact, when you're building the house, if you plan to put the TVs on a wall, they can put backer boards in, they can put your plug for power and Ethernet and coaxial if you choose, like we did, in those locations. So you simply hang your TV and you're ready to go. Wi-Fi also. If we lived in an old 1920s house and going for 3 stories in a basement and having Wi-Fi accessibility, it was almost impossible to find a location to put your router for the Wi-Fi signal. When we built this house, I told them I wanted to have a mesh system built up so I could have complete coverage in our house with Wi-Fi in addition to the Ethernet plugs we had. And part of that reason is people being anywhere in the house and wanting their iPad or their iPhone or whatever, being able to connect to Wi-Fi. But when we built this house, I had the electrician wire in programmable or smart soffit lights. Well, what's that mean? Well, it means I can program those to come on and off anytime. I can program to change colors. I can program them to go through different scenarios or scenes. And essentially, it gave me a built-in holiday season light show that I could change depending on the season. But the key there was they needed to be able to get the Wi-Fi signal out to the soffits so I could control those lights. Something you might not think about, but when in doubt, think of a smart home where you want to be able to have Wi-Fi signals to all your smart devices. Another one is your doorbell. I have a Google doorbell camera that it runs on Wi-Fi. So I need to have Wi-Fi signal strong enough so that will pick that up. And this is kind of a weird one, but you may need it in your new house. We are going to put a wireless bird feeder camera in our backyard. Well, the big concern is, will the Wi-Fi signal get out there? Well, if you plan your house right, either through a mesh system or actually putting an outdoor Wi-Fi antenna, you can cover all those needs. Sit out in your backyard, have your internet. Be in the garage, have your internet. Be in your bedroom, have your internet. A smart home is the way of the future. Turning lights off and on, you want to be able to do that from your phone apps. So plan for technology. It's probably not going to get any less, and it'll probably get more. I moved it out to the garage now, and I was ready to wrap up this video, but I thought I'm going to give you a bonus tip that has to do with this garage space. The tip I would give you is don't skimp. When we sat down with the builder, they asked, what do you want to do for your garages? And I immediately said 3 stalls that will all hold full-size pickups. Now you're probably saying, well, you're crazy. Number one, will probably never have 3 pickups in the garage. And number 2, at your advancing years, would you even drive a full-size pickup? Well, that's not the point. The point was we wanted to have space between the cars for easy entrance and exit. And particularly as we get into our senior years, the need of a walker or a wheelchair to get up to the side of the car becomes more important. We've already experienced that with a family member who, when they visit, has a walker. And now in those cold winter days, they can pull right into the garage. We can get their walker out, roll it right up to the door that's wide open, and they can get out very easy. And then another benefit that I mentioned earlier is they can roll right in from our garage through our 0 entry into our house. So that's the benefit we have. And oh, by the way, I need a shop. Not necessarily for making a bunch of stuff, because I've only dabbled in the woodworking, but as you can see here, I've got all the tools set up in a place that's temperature controlled, where I can work out here any time of the year. Woodworking projects, fixing things that are from inside the house, doing maintenance on the lawnmower and the snowblower if need be. It just gives a nice, comfortable place that I can go out to day and work without having to climb stairs. And finally, in the garage, we set up for storage. And I know you're saying you've got a huge utility room in the basement. I thought that was where your storage was. Well, there's storage down there, and that's the stuff we rarely, if ever, need. Maybe at Christmas, or maybe when we move stuff out to the porch in the springtime. But what we want the storage in the garage to be is things that we access day to day, just like the things we have in our house. We want it all to be on one floor, easily accessible, so we don't have to climb stairs to go get it. And as you can see, I've got a myriad of things. I've got car washing stuff, I've got paint touch-up stuff, I've got tapes, I've got ropes, gardening tools, gloves for the garden, that kind of stuff is all stored out here in this small area for storage. So as I mentioned, don't scrimp on your garage. Think about it. Even if you're a younger family, you may have the need for a third stall when you have a teenager that's driving. It's well worth getting it and adding that extra width and length to it so it's easy to get around and you can store stuff in it. There you have it, 4 tips plus a bonus tip on creating your forever home. My wife and I have several times talked about this journey we've been on for the last 2.5, 3 years, where we made the decision to build a house, then had to go through the process of what are we going to put in there, how's it going to look, then the construction phases, and then the whole moving from an old house to a new house. We made it through and we look back on it and say, we're so glad we did it. And as I've shared with you in these tips, we have a zero entry home where we should never have issues with our mobility getting into the house or out of the house. We have a layout that allows us to live on a single floor with our bedrooms, our family rooms, our kitchens, our washers and dryers, my office, and even this garage all on a single level that we don't have to worry about accessibility. We have a beautiful lot that's like living in a park that we were so fortunate to find, and we can enjoy that beauty from our 3-season porch on that single level that we have for years to come. And of course, the technology. I'm a tech nerd, and I had to have this house set for today's technology as well as the future, and we have that. With the house able to be a smart house, we have our internet access all over the place, and we're ready for anything that can come at us. And then finally, this garage. You know, I've always wanted to have a workshop that I wasn't freezing my butt off, and I have easy access to, and I don't have problems with tearing things apart and working on them and just leaving them. I've got that now. These are the things that you can do if you decide to build your forever house. Appreciate you for watching. Please subscribe if you would to RS Tech ALO, and stay tuned for my future videos.